7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, we don't actually have an intro this week because Kevin didn't do one. So, welcome to Powerbomb Weekly. My name is Joey. This is Ron. He's
Hello.
My co-host.
Hello.
Mike couldn't be here, so you got us.
Yay.
And there was much rejoicing. And so, so there's much rejoicing. Welcome to Powerbomb Weekly. All right, so tonight's show is either going to be a train wreck or it's going to be amazing. I don't know. We're gonna rush through, not rush through some things. So while Ron is going to be an excellent co-host tonight, he does not have as much like wrestling background knowledge. He's kind of done some but he doesn't watch it like Mike and I do. He doesn't analyze it, but he definitely has opinions. He has favorite wrestlers, so he's been on the show before. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
So I didn't have to do this by myself, and the 5 hours of work they have put into it doesn't go to waste.
Hey.
So we're gonna start with Hell in a Cell. That was the big thing. That's what started this week. I'm using a new mouse and it doesn't like me. So Hell in a Cell. It started off with Bianca Belair versus Asuka and Becky Lynch. Both Mike and I picked Bianca to retain. She in fact did. Mm-hmm. Uncle Dave Meltzer gave it a 4-star match. I thought it was probably a good 3.5-star match. It had some good spots. It had some back and forth. Becky looked as ridiculous as she always does. Actually, my wife walked in and watching. What is she wearing? Yeah, it's her shtick. It's her look.
Yeah.
Asuka came out looking like Freddie or Jason Voorhees. Mm-hmm. Bianca looked like Bianca, and she won the match. I mean, really, it was expected. Did you expect anything different?
No, I was expecting Belair to retain. I was hoping that. Well, I liked some of the spots. I was hoping there's be a little bit more interaction between Becky. Offensive Becky, but I guess that's how she is now, which, to be honest, is a disappointment. Eh?
Yeah, and we're gonna see just how far that disappointment falls when we get to Raw. Wow, yeah. How the mighty have fallen. So, 4-star match. I'd say it was probably more of like a 3.5-star match. At some point in time, Mike will let me know what he thinks so that we can get his rating.
Unofficially, I will say it was a 3. It was astounding, but it was entertaining.
All right, we moved on to Bobby versus MVP and Almost. There was no surprises here. Bobby pinned MVP as it should have. Right. 8 minutes was way too long. I think this match should have been much shorter. It shouldn't have even been a thing. And I'm glad that we're going to move on from this. Because this
is ridiculous.
1 3/4 stars is sure. I'm going to agree with it because that's generous.
I was going to give it a 1. This was definitely a squash match. You already knew that who was going to get pinned. Almost is definitely a diamond in the rough. Yeah. Limited power moves. Not a big man. I mean,
he's no good. He's no good to me alive. Or he's no good to me dead. Yeah. He might as well be. I give it 1.5. The 3/4 is, yeah, I think you're right. The 3/4 is a bit generous. So, yeah, we start with a really good match, and then we go to, now you can go to the bathroom and get your merchandise. And then we move on to a match that surprised me. Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel. They had a 9-minute match, 2.5 stars. I'd say this was a good solid 3-star match, honestly. I thought they had a really good match. I think that Kevin Owens looked really good. He won like he should have.
Right.
I thought Ezekiel was going to win. And they're trying so hard to make Ezekiel not Elias, even though he is Elias. Yes. And he looks like he looks like a cross between Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior. When he comes out, he does Randy Savage moves.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think it was a bad match.
It was a good match. They worked together very well, obviously.
Definitely good chemistry.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little surprised as well. I was, because of I think the drama's getting to me a little bit, the ridiculousness of this Ezekiel.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, can the guy just wrestle?
I'm over Kevin Owens' inquiry.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to be done with it. Yeah. But... And it didn't make any sense why... it didn't make any sense to me why... on Raw what happened, and we'll go when we talk about Raw. There's something on Raw that just didn't make any sense. Our next match was Judgment Day versus AJ the Club. Mm-hmm. And I think 3.5 stars is giving this match too much. I didn't see it. You had a missed tag match, which was mismatched because you had 2 guys, 1 girl. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I didn't feel this match. I don't feel the chemistry, and apparently other people aren't, and that's why. No, that's not why what happened on Raw happened. The reasons what happened on Raw happened are even more ridiculous. But I gave this. I would have given this just a regular 3, not a 3.5. I don't know. I didn't see anything really super special in this match. Edge, they protected him like they should. I think that we could do so much more with I'm sorry, I tried to say Punishment Martinez, but I think we could do so much more with the hell's his name in WWE now? I keep wanting to say Punishment Martinez. That's not his name.
Oh, what's his face? Damian
Priest. I think that Damian Priest could offer so much more. And I think still we should have had the Priest versus Demon match from a couple months ago that we never got.
I agree.
Because we know in Ring of Honor they were really good against each other.
Yeah.
So I know what Damian Priest is capable of, and WWE won't give us that. But it was a 16-minute match. It was a long match. It was a decent match. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, it's tough with the mix that you had. I was expecting a little bit more. I do agree with Joey. It was not my favorite match, and I was thinking this would be one of them. Damian, well, I can't say any more because we haven't got to Raw, but I agree with Joey's assessment. Damian can do more with the group, and I think he can. But I'll leave it as that for now.
Okay. Yep. And then, oh God. So
this one.
All right. So these were two interesting matches. They both got 3.25 stars, and they were completely different matches. And I loved one of the two, and I hated the other. So, I'll let you go. You start with this one before I say anything.
You know what? The Madcap Moss thing is just overgrown on me.
Well, he's not really Madcap.
Now he's whatever he's
He's tough guy Moss.
Yeah, super version out of his whatever superhero Moss. So the ridiculousness of that, I was hoping that would end. But believe it or not, they actually had a good match. And I have to give them credit for that. But I really just don't like the story. In theory, and I don't know. It just seems dead to me.
Okay. So, I had the complete opposite.
Okay.
I could care less about this Corbin match. It was no holds barred. It was everything a no holds barred match should be. That was all fine and dandy. Didn't care the fact it was no holds barred. They actually were kind of, for a no holds barred match, I thought they were kind of light on it, which I'm okay with because I don't feel like we need to kill each other like we do in AEW.
Right.
But Theory versus Mustafa Ali with a good 10-minute match. I love this match. I thought this match was great.
Yeah.
I thought this was absolutely a 3.5-star match. I thought Madcap Moss and Corbin was a 3-star match. So I think the second match was much better than the first match.
Interesting. Did you like the chemistry between Theory and Ali? Or?
I did. I thought that they worked really well together. And here's the thing. There were times where I knew Theory was going to win this match. Mm-hmm. I knew it. But there were times where I believed Mustafa Ali had it. I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to swerve? Are they really going to let him win? Mm-hmm. So it brought me the emotion out of it. I actually thought there was a chance he could win. Even though I knew there wasn't, but I felt like, oh, this might be, he might get
That's where I was at. I was stuck on the point that there's no way Mustafa's going to win, no matter what. And that played into what I said.
Yeah. So far, a pay-per-view that everybody thought was going to suck has had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6 matches we've had so far, in my opinion, were at least a 3-star match or better. Mm-hmm. I was expecting to give this pay-per-view all 2s. It looked dead in the paper. Dead on paper. Mm-hmm. And then we heard about the theory. We heard about the injury. Now we're going to talk about the injury in a minute. We heard about he got pulled from a pay-per-view. He got pulled from a live event because he had some injury. Mm-hmm. What happened? Did he hurt his foot? Was he just resting his back? Nobody knew what the injury was. Nobody did. So we're gonna talk about this match in a quick second. But things that you want to know. So Cody Rhodes defeats Seth Rollins in 24 minutes inside Hell in the Cell. Mm-hmm. Dave gave it a 5-star match. Now here's the problem. This is what Cody Rhodes looked like during the match. So, he tore the pectoral muscle off of the bone. Yes. When I saw that, I was just like, what the hell? And I showed my wife. My wife is an occupational therapist. Yeah. She does therapy for people that have similar rehabs. Mm-hmm. And she just said, what did he do? Yeah. Now, there are those that claim that was makeup. Did you know there are people who believe that's not even a real injury, that he just got makeup?
You can't fake that.
Yeah, no, if that was makeup, whenever he would have touched Cody Rhodes or Seth, that makeup would have been all over his body. See any female wrestler match. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but I don't think... So we watch wrestling all the time, and sometimes oh, he's got an injured leg, and then we'll see him put all this pressure on his leg somewhere in the match. I guess the leg didn't hurt anymore. Yeah. At no point in time in this match did Cody ever lift his arm above here. Yeah. And I asked my wife, who, again, anatomy, and I'm like, so does having a torn pectoral muscle limit your motion? She goes, well, yes and no. It does not limit your ability to do this, but coming back down will feel like murder to you. Yeah. You'll just feel like someone's stabbing you the whole time. Mm-hmm. So it's not the coming up, it's the coming down that would hurt it so much. Mm-hmm. So, going back up for a second.
That's a nasty picture, by the way.
Does this match deserve a 5-star because it was that good of a match? Or are we looking at this as a 5-star match because he was so injured? That's the part that I still have to wrestle because if he was 100%, would I still feel like the match, and he wrestled the match as he did, would I give it a 5-star? Or would Dave give it a 5-star? Would anybody give it a 5-star? Everybody has said this was match of the year. Everyone loved this match. I've yet to find a single review, a single person say that this wasn't a good match. I've found plenty of people who said that Cody shouldn't have wrestled this match. Mm-hmm. So, again, 5-star. Like that. Inside Hell of the Cell, even. So, there's so many factors. What do you think? You watched this match. You watched what he did. You saw the ins and outs. Go. And I'll give you my thoughts.
I hear what you're saying, Joey. I mean, yeah, you take away the injuries, it's still the same 5-star quality.
Is that your statement, or is that your question?
That's my question. So my question, but for me, I would agree with the 5-star, and to be honest, I would factor in the injury, just because he did his spots, and he even sold some of his spots with the injury, which is pretty impressive, and I don't even imagine how that felt. I mean, he did all his spots. Would it be a 5-star if he wasn't injured? I don't know. Maybe it might knock it down to a 4, but to be honest, the effort that he gave and just the chemistry between him and Seth, and Seth to actually recognize that too and use some of his spots for it as well.
Oh no, yeah.
I mean, you got to trust your partner. You got a torn pec.
Yes.
You have to absolutely trust your partner who you're in the ring with. So, kudos to both of them. So I will go out on a limb, maybe not on a limb, but I would say that's well deserved.
So the things that were good, you could tell Seth absolutely helped not re-injure him or injure him more. There were times where he did give it to him. He did put the sledgehammer into his pec, and I'm sure there had to have, everybody, they talked it over and what he could and couldn't handle pain wise and what he was willing to do. And there were a couple times where I thought, man, you just kicked him really close. I really hope those were whiffing and not, and just the camera angle made it look like you just nailed it in there. But he always attacked him from the other side, and Cody couldn't get his mat, and they towards the end when they were giving each other the Cody cut, or not Cody cutters, but the what's it Cody call it now? His finishing move. Not the Cody cutter.
Which one?
Don't worry, like the DDT move.
Oh.
Wow, braid fart. Anyway, they gave him back and forth to each other. Cody obviously wasn't jumping off any ropes or being super crazy. They utilized the cage enough to show that there was a cage.
Yep.
I can't in my brain give this 5 stars. I can't. I will give it 4.5. Absolutely.
That's fair.
That's fair. At some point in time, Mike will give his scores on all these matches. We'll see what it is. But it was an amazing match, and I thought it was an excellent way to cap off the 3 matches. Cody won all 3 in the triad, and so when Cody comes back, where does he go from here? Because I don't feel like there's a lot of other top tier for him to fight, and that'll be a conversation for another day. That'll be a conversation for another show. But all in all, it was an amazing match. They did an amazing job. So my hat's off to them. Nothing but respect for Cody and what he did, and what he ended up doing the next night also. So, was it a 5-star match though? I can't find. Excuse me.
That's you.
I can't find in my brain I can't.
Let me ask you this question.
Sorry.
So I know it's halfway through this year. Would
Yeah.
you consider that this match is one of the candidates for match of the year?
In WWE, absolutely.
Okay.
And in WWE, this is absolutely probably the best match I've seen. Not in AEW, not so much. There have been some better matches in AEW.
Right.
I can't think of a better match that I've seen in WWE.
Okay.
Or NXT. Maybe one of the matches in NXT. But yeah, no, it's been the best match of the year for sure. And it's the first time that Mr. Meltzer has given a WWE match a 5-star rating since John Cena versus CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because Cody used to be AEW, or is that because the match was that good? Most people I saw gave this at least a 4-star, if not greater. Like I said, I'm not sure that 5 is for me. I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was the King of the Ring. That was the King of the Ring.
No, Hell in the Cell.
That was the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. The next pay-per-view is going to be Money in the Bank, which is another pay-per-view that does not matter because it doesn't matter because apparently some of these premium live events don't matter.
Yeah.
So with all of the rankings totaling so this was all in all, the pay-per-view itself was a 3.25, which is probably one of the highest rated pay-per-views that we've reviewed in the show. Again, we'll get Mike's inputs in a couple weeks, or he'll put them online, I'm sure. So, moving on to the rest of the week of wrestling, we're going to talk about NXT, then we'll talk about Raw and SmackDown, and then we'll talk about Dynamite and the shenanigans that Dynamite's been doing. And I will pose a question that you will be able to answer because it's in your wheelhouse.
All right.
That I was going to pose to, I was actually going to pose to Mike, and we'll see what happens. But starting off, NXT. Are you enjoying the NXT content?
No.
No.
That's why I stopped watching it.
Nobody's enjoying the NXT content. NXT has gone so we will go through this pretty quick probably. So NXT, we recapped the In Your House highlights. Carmelo had a mic. He's like, yeah, I'm the best. I got the belt back from Cameron Grimes as predicted, which makes me think that Cameron Grimes going up to SmackDown. And so Baby Uso, he's like, I got next. And then Grayson Waller comes out and goes, nah. You had next with you had that with Grimes. Yeah. I got next, and so then Carmelo's like, hey, why don't you wrestle each other and figure it out? I'm gonna deuce over here.
Hey.
We got to see the Mafia's new.
Oh boy.
Now that the drug cartel are part of the Mafia Goombas. Yeah. One of them's a driver. The other one went to City Hall to deliver some documents. Really? Because, when I think of Mafia, I think of, Miami.
Well, definitely go to City Hall.
I don't think of Italian. I think of the drug cartel running Miami, not the Italians. The Bionic Redneck, and that's what I'm going to call him from now on, because the dude is a really good wrestler. He actually is. Yeah. He wrestled Von Wagner, and this 3-minute match felt like it was longer. It should have been longer. It was like, wow, this is actually good wrestling. So you had the Bionic Redneck versus the Bionic Caveman. Yeah. Neanderthal. So then we go backstage, and Sikoa needs but doesn't want a partner because they're gonna wrestle, the Grayson Waller and the Carmelo Hayes, and so who's his partner gonna be? Woo! Speculation amid, and I couldn't think of who his partner would be. Then we go backstage, and Chase U's gotten their thing because the brand new graduate from high school is part of Chase U. Pretty Deadly talks some smack, and they set up a match for later. So then, of course, because I can make you do what I want because I own you, Santos has a match against Fraser. Now this was an amazing match. Santos is a good wrestler. I've never liked him as a person or a character, but I've never been able to say he wasn't a good wrestler. This Fraser kid from UK is a phenomenal wrestler. They had an amazing match. This was like, wow. If you put matches like this on NXT, I would enjoy it a whole lot more. And you got rid of all of the frou-frou color and the ridiculous everyone's character. The big story of this match was that Tony D's was not happy with Santos doing his high-flying stuff because we don't do that in the Mafia. All I know how to do is kicks and punches. So he basically, I believe he costed them. Yeah, he cost them the match because he was interfering with the crowbar, wanting him to get. It was dumb. So we'll have to suffer this for at least another month before the next pay-per-view when they'll get their freedom back. Zion Quinn, who's 5 times bigger than Wes Lee, wants a rematch because he should never have won. He said, our match was 5 minutes long, and for 4 minutes and 57 seconds, I dominated that match. And then in 3 seconds, he won. Well, it only takes 3. Isn't that what we say? It only takes 3 seconds. So he wants a rematch.
Okay.
So then Braun has a mic. Who's my next challenger? I've moved on from John Wayne Gacy. And out comes Apollo! And Apollo has lost his accent. He is no longer a Nigerian prince. He's just Apollo.
He's no longer Wakandian?
Yeah, he's no longer a Wakandian. He's no longer Wakanda forever. He lost his accent, and he's like, I left NXT too early, and I have unfinished business. You did leave NXT way too early. And I think he's a great addition to NXT, and I hope he does well. And so, but he did not, and I thought it was interesting, is like, but he didn't immediately call for the next match. He was like, I'm here, maybe we'll see each other down the line, shook his hand, and walked off. And I was like, oh, well, that's not what I thought was going to happen. Maybe. And then we recapped the women's breakout tournament because, well, why wasn't the match during In Your House like you said it was going to be? Because reasons. And then we move on to the John Wayne Gacy. His name is not John Wayne Gacy. Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy introduces his tag team. They're going to wrestle next week. They are the Dyad. They are, and quote me, I've said this for 3 weeks in a row. And when we come back in 2 weeks, so we're not doing a show next week because of Father's Day, but in 2 more weeks, when it comes out and we talk about who the Dyad is, I've been saying it's GPV this whole time. GYV. Grizzled Young Veterans. That is who the Dyad is. I've said it week after week. Nobody believes me. It's the Dyad.
Okay.
We'll see. And that was the first hour. So, one of the things that I've done is everything in white happened in front of you. This is what happened. People that were in the arena got to see these things. Mm-hmm. All the yellow is the backstage pass stuff. That's the stuff that happens backstage that you're watching on the monitor. And everything in the red is the recap stuff. So just so you have an idea of what people are paying to see. So in the first hour of NXT, the friends and family, because that's who goes to NXT shows, they only got to watch 15 minutes of actual wrestling in that first hour.
Sure.
Yep. So then we move on to the second hour, which looks like there's more, but really
no,
not.
it's not.
Well, there is, but there isn't. So to be fair, the Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez started 3 minutes before the hour. So most of the match happened on this side of the hour. So they started their match. That 12 and a half minute match was 9 minutes too long. Tiffany Stratton did lose this match, as she should have. Roxanne Perez is the better wrestler. She's been the better wrestler. And I just don't see it with Tiffany yet. It's over time. She'll get better. She was a much better wrestler than I thought she was initially, but again, it feels like with some of these women matches, and it's not just women matches, some of these NXT matches, we do the same 5 move sets over and over again to pad the time. because they don't know what else. That's all they've learned. That
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, we learned this week. This is what we learned this week in the Performance Center.
That's a good analogy there. Yeah, it is true because it does get repetitive. They just change the block, the string block. It's like it's same order.
And then Toxic Attraction erupts because that's what they do. Because we need to put Mandy Rose's ass out there for everyone to see. Literally. So Brody gets attacked by unseen cameraman again.
Yeah.
So he won't be able to be in the match that he's got coming up. Because remember, it's supposed to be Chase U versus Pretty Deadly. Nobody knows. Then we get Wendy Chu being introduced by Trish Stratton.
Tiff.
By Tiffany Stratton. Wendy Chu, just 1 year ago, used to be the Dragon Lord Sith leader, but now she's in footy pajamas.
Yeah.
Just a reminder.
Yeah.
So, Pretty Deadly beats Andre Chase by himself in a handicap match. Go figure.
Yeah.
And Tiffany Thee gets up on the ropes like, tag me in! It's like, that's not how intergender tag matches work because Pretty Deadly are two guys.
Yeah.
You're a woman.
Yeah.
You can't do intergender tag matches, especially when you're 5'0" nothing.
Yeah.
Granted, Pretty Deadly aren't exactly the biggest in men,
Yeah.
but that's not going to fly. They're not going to go that way.
Yeah.
I don't even know why, but Mello was like, I don't need your help, Mafia guys. The Mafia's like, hey, we could help protect you. And he's like, I don't need your protection. It's like, oh, this is where we're going. Yeah. Alba Fire beat Tatum Paxley for no damn reason.
Okay.
Because we're shoving the fact that Kaylee Ray is now Alba Fire with the flaming baseball bat, and you're going to know it. And once again, our brand new Tatum Paxley has yet to win. Is lost another match.
Yeah.
Roddy, we go backstage to. I've been saying that a lot. We go backstage. We go backstage again.
Yes.
To Roddy, desperately trying to get out of his WWE contract. Please, let me go join my friends in AEW. And Vince keeps saying, no, you're mine. I swear, they had to have been sitting around. You going to sign your contract? Yeah, we're going to sign our contract. You going to sign your contract? Yeah, we're going to sign our contract. Hey, Bobby, you going to sign a contract? Yeah, I'm going to sign a contract. Yeah. All right, hey, here's what I got on my contract. Oh, you actually signed one? We were kidding. Because Roddy's the only one that stayed.
Yeah.
Once again, Vinciani used to be part of Imperium, who's got now a beard. Not as good a beard as I do, but he's got a beard. He'll be there next week. And then Solo gets Apollo to tag with him against Carmelo Hayes and Waller. Yeah. This was a good match. It should be a good match. It was your
It's the highlight.
It's your main event. It's supposed to be a good match. But you'll see that we actually had 33 minutes of wrestling on the second hour of wrestling. And I've noticed that you have an average of about 20 to 25 minutes of wrestling every hour per show. Yeah, NXT was better than it's been, but not a good show. That's my opinion. And you can't change me.
That's okay. Well.
Just so... It's crazy. We are like 30 minutes ahead of schedule of my little sheet here of how long it's going to take. Right now, we should be... No, actually, we're going to start Raw here in a minute. We are an hour ahead of schedule.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Wow. An hour ahead of schedule. You know why? It's because somebody's not telling me I'm wrong on everything.
Well,
I mean, I missed that Mike wasn't here to tell me his thoughts on Hell in the Cell. I gave Hell in the Cell 30 minutes. Me and you did it in 10.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to what the hell happened on Monday Night Raw. So, lots happened. So first, let's have a recap of Hell in the Cell. Again. Well, I mean, Hell in the Cell happened last night, so
yeah,
we're going to recap. You need to have a recap. And then we have a new Judgment Day member countdown. Gotta have a countdown. Every Raw has to have a countdown now.
Yeah.
And then we go through all the matches of the night that may or may not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So then we bring out Cody Rhodes. Cody limps out. This was a great promo. This was a great promo.
It was.
He talks about how hurt he is and how beat up he is and that he wants that suitcase up there. He wants that Hell in the Cell in a month, and he's going to do everything in his power to get it. And the doctors are telling him that's probably not going to happen, but I'll do what it takes. And then, burn it down. And here comes Seth, limping. They are selling this match. They are selling their injuries like they should, because it was a pretty gruesome match. Yep. They did a lot of that match. Again, I'm not sure it was a 5-star, but it was definitely a 4.5. He's like, hey, I'm not here to start no S. I'm not here to start a bunch of, I can say a word. I'm not here to start a bunch of shit. I just, you came out after our first match and tried to shake my hand, and I was an a-hole to you. Yeah. Now I just want to return the favor. Will you please shake my hand? Yeah. I'm sorry. We're done. Yeah. And it was great. And he walked out, and it was like, all right. Now, where does Cody go from here? Cody's going to move on. Seth's going to move on. Cody gets up to the top of the stage. And anytime a wrestler is shown walking back up the stage, and you get that shot of him waving to the crowd, you're like, oh, crap, here he comes. And then here comes Seth with a sledgehammer.
Yep. To do the due diligence. And
that was a brutal looking beatdown. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Cody was just like, give me it all. Just make it look good. I feel like he was worse than that. The beatdown on the stage looked more painful than some of the things in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, I think he really did snap. I felt like there's a chance that Seth may have really flipped. Like, the screws loosed. Yeah. But, what did you see?
Yeah, when Seth shook his hand, I was like, they're going to finish the job. And I kind of had this sense that he's going to come back.
Just so you felt like it was going to happen? See, I felt like it was done. I thought this is done. It's good. Let's move on.
It's like recovery time. This is an opportunity to get him completely over. Whether Seth and Cody will cross paths when he comes back, I don't know. But I thought it was great. I liked it. That it wasn't just like the wave off in the sunset, get well, Cody. It's like, no.
No, it was definitely not a...
It's like, I'm a star loser. Let me just add a little bit more to your medical bill. So,
I think it definitely sells Cody missing Money in the Bank.
Yes.
If you look at it from a booking standpoint, this was done to sell Cody won't be at Money in the Bank, which means Cody will now have to win the Royal Rumble in order to get his championship match.
Correct.
So then we go to commercial. We come back and we're gonna recap what just happened 5 minutes ago.
Oops. We're ahead of schedule. Yeah.
Then Mike, I want to know what you thought. I really want to know what you thought. I wish, if nothing else, Mike, this is why I wish you were, Mike, if nothing else, this is why I wish you were here, because I want to know your thoughts on Becky Lynch participating in a 24/7 match.
This is what I was alluding to. I was like, how the mighty have fallen. I'm like,
Becky Lynch starts a match with Dana Brooke with a already in the ring Dana Brooke. And then, in the middle of their match, here comes the 24/7 people. Dana pins Tozawa.
Of course.
So Dana stops her match with Becky to pin someone else. And Becky's like, no. This is bullshit. No. I'm going to be a champion.
And-
I want that belt then. And then she loses.
Yes.
She loses to Dana Brooke.
For the 24/7.
Now,
Yeah.
you could say that there was shenanigans and that Tamina may have interfered, but Becky Lynch has a loss on the records book to Dana Brooke for the 24/7 championship.
What are they doing?
Just, I hope, Becky, they're paying you well. I really hope they're paying you well. Or you're just like, I don't care.
I ain't gonna sell anything. It's like, oh, come on.
I am so good, I could sell it 24/7. We're going to put some respect in the name of that belt.
Man, can you imagine if she won that?
I was like, so if Becky wins the 24/7 championship, are we putting respect on the belt? Or what? What
does that mean?
What are we doing? Just good. Oh, Becky Lynch lost. One more time. Becky Lynch lost in 2 minutes and 13 seconds to Dana Brooke. Anyway, moving on. Then we get a package for John Cena. John Cena has been in the industry for 20 years. In 2 weeks from now, we are going to talk about John Felix Cena. We're going to talk about him when we come back from our Father's Day break.
Yeah.
Mike, just so you know, it's not a prediction. It's not a spoiler. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Then we have Biz TV.
Oh, yeah.
Maurice looked amazing. Maurice looked so good.
There you go.
I thought at one point in time she was going to fall out of her top. I may have hoped she was going to fall out of her top. I don't find Maurice attractive like normally, but she looked good. And then Riddle came out, and Riddle was being Riddle. So Riddle has been this serious Riddle, and then tonight he decided he was going to not be as serious for a little bit. Yeah, and then we started talking about the size of Riddle's for Mrs. Balls, and he's got extra large balls apparently, and that got ridiculous. Yeah. So then we just brought a match out, and then this match was 2 minutes long, and obviously Riddle beat the Miz, but I don't know why this had to happen. Riddle's been doing this serious commentary, being a threat to Roman, which we'll get to back on SmackDown. Yeah. This was not needed. Other than to just show off Maurice's ginormous balls that she wore on her chest.
The tiny balls chant was funny.
Yes, well, anytime you get tiny balls it's like an Tiny Dog.
Yeah.
Tiny Dog! TD! Alright, so then we had a great match with the Street Profits versus the Usos. Because remember, and this was and I don't have the audio because Mike's not here, but this was one of those, you get to beat the champ to fight the champ title situation. Yeah. And I do have the audio ready to go, but Mike's not here, so I didn't play it. Sorry. Mm-hmm. But I do have the audio ready to go. Actually, you know what? In event, because
you can play it.
Yeah, you know, so in this particular match, it's just taking me half a second to find it. So we have a match in which as he just gets time, he's just killing time. He's just killing time. I have it. I have the audio. Where'd my audio go?
Keep
talk.
Well, either way. So yeah, Street Foxes versus Usos. I did like this match too. You find it? Oh
Yeah. So
yeah.
so we have the Street Profits and Usos in a.
To be able to beat the champion. That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, so to beat the champion, you have to beat the champion.
Yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it picked it up well or not, but whatever. Yeah, again, makes no sense. But the Usos do. The Usos do that because, they won via countout.
Yeah.
But they won.
They won.
So now they get a championship match against, and the Street Profits should beat them in the future.
I hope so.
They won't, but they should.
They should.
Then we go. Then we recap Seth and Cody from an hour ago, because in case you didn't see it, beat 'em ups happened. Because we want you to understand, this is why Cody's not going to be a Money in the Bank. Every time I saw this promo, I'm like, oh, we're reminding us why Seth. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then Bobby Lashley comes out with a mic. Bobby Lashley should not have a mic. Bobby Lashley should never talk to people. Bobby Lashley was much better with MVP. Everything MVP said about I made you, I made the Undisputed Era was 100% correct. But, what are we going to do? So Theory comes out going, haha, I could beat you. I've got bigger muscles. And Bobby's like, this is a bicep. So apparently Bobby Lashley's going to beat up on Theory here soon.
At some point.
And we got Veer. A recap of Veer beating up the Mysterios.
Oh, you've moved up. No.
Yes, so back to Veer and the Mysterios. Apparently the Mysterios have healed enough from the last ass whooping.
To go at it again. But Ray saves his son this time.
Yeah, so... Yeah. They had a 9-minute match.
Yeah, that's what was the confusing part. It's like...
Like, to the average person who didn't watch this match, you have to look at that and go, did Dominic run around the ring for 9 minutes before Veer finally beat him?
Yeah.
No! They made Dominic a force that Veer had to reckon with and slowly dismantle for 8 minutes and 55 seconds before Veer could then beat him up. No. So, Veer, it was been great having you on the main roster. You can go back down to SmackDown now, or to NXT, because we don't need your services anymore, apparently.
I guess.
Then we go to Judgment Day match from Hell in a Cell. We got, if you haven't watched Hell in a Cell, these are all the reasons you should watch it. Okay, sure. I can respect that. Mm-hmm. And then we move into we got a good 25 minutes of wrestling in the second hour.
Yeah.
Plus the Bobby Lashley thing. That was probably a good 5 minutes. Yeah. Then we go to hour 3. We got Judgment Day in the ring.
Ah, yes.
Please, Ron, tell me what happened when Judgment Ring came. Judgment Ring? What happened when Judgment Day got its new member? Who was their new member?
It was Finn Balor.
Because that makes sense, because they've been beating up Finn Balor.
And Edge has been saying that Finn's going to join, so I was kind of lukewarm when I saw that. I was like, okay, all right, so yay, Finn's going to become a villain.
I honestly thought that Finn was going to challenge them. I didn't think he was the new member for about half a minute.
For about 10 seconds I was actually totally deflated, and I was basically telling this group is stupid, because now they're just going to have Finn just join. It's no resistance. But then that's when... You want to take it, Joey?
No! Please, Ron! What happened?
Well, basically, Damien... Was it Damien, I think?
Damien.
Yeah. He was talking and, welcoming in, and he made a statement that we could do so much more without anybody holding us back. But the one person that's holding
There's
us
just
back,
one thing holding us back now.
and it was Edge.
You.
Yeah, you.
The man who created the group.
Yeah.
Has been in the group. The group has been around for 2.5 months, maybe?
I would say
Now,
so.
Rumor has it. Do you know why Edge was kicked out of the group? According to the dirt sheets.
Mm-mm.
According to the dirt sheets, the reason that Finn Balor kicked Edge out of the group, and the reason that Edge is no longer in the group, is because Vince is like, I got an idea. So, we're going to take this group, Judgment Day, and we're going to make them supernatural. And we're going to make things happen and, appear out of nowhere and smoke and fire and supernatural.
Ah.
And Edge is like, no? No, I don't like that. That's not my vision for this group.
Yeah.
Well, you're replaceable, pal.
There you go.
So they kicked him out of his group because they didn't like where his group idea was going. All right, if anybody's... Edge has been around for a minute. Edge, I would say, knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. If Edge has an idea for a stable, you should probably at least give him a little bit of credit. The supernatural thing, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt, did not work. We set the man on fire.
Yeah.
And teleportation. So, basically, Vinnie Mac said, I want to be more like AEW. That's what he said. I want this group to be more like AEW. He truly wants House of Black. He kicked out House of Black. And I make the joke on the show all the time that basically Vinny's like, what's this book?
Yeah.
What is this? Oh, this is a cool idea. House of Black.
Yeah.
Hey, we should do this. Who do we got that we could pull this off with? Edge. Edge could do this.
Yeah.
We'll just cross out Aleister Black here and Buddy Murphy, and we'll get some new people. So Edge has been kicked out of his own group. Now, there's a really cool rumor going around that Big Cass, or XL,
that's true.
is going to come to Raw and be Edge's little brother. Now, if you look at them side by side, they look alike. But, yeah. So, apparently we're going to get back to the rated R superstar. But so here's why this doesn't work. For a month and a half, Edge, Adam Copeland, if you will,
yeah,
I'm talking to you. You've told me how, as a wrestling fan, I am worthless and below your level. I don't matter. Nothing I've said matters. And it was because you stopped listening to me, the fan, that you were able to excel upon the mountain of omnipotence. Yeah, you were able to ascend because you stopped caring what I thought. And now you want me to you're gonna become a babyface and I'm just supposed to accept you back?
Right. You basically tore a hole into the whole, which was a great promo, by the way. But
so
now,
Edge needs to go away now.
Yeah.
Or Edge needs to get another heel group and then turn Judgment Day good. But again, Rhea Ripley joined this big group because people weren't buying her merch anymore. And Martinez was being floundered because he was selling to Bad Bunny.
And they're selling their autographs on eBay. So, I mean, okay. So, where do you go from here? So
I mean...
And Finn hasn't said anything.
Really.
Right. So, what's Finn's vision?
I don't even know why Finn...
So
who's the leader now? Who's the leader?
I would say Damien, but...
Who's the leader guy?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to make Finn the leader, then you should have just called it Bullet Club. Or Bang Bang Shell Club.
Okay. That's my one issue is so you replaced Edge with Finn, but Finn hasn't said a word. So
Because Finn's not a great talker.
Fair.
He's not a great talker. All right. What else happened on this show?
Oh, yeah.
We get the recap from Bobby and Omos and Cedric. And Bobby's like, hey, bro, never get involved with one of my matches again.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to make a name for myself.
Yeah.
So then he gets squashed in 7 seconds by Omos. And then afterwards...
Is Omos improving?
No! He's not improving!
That's what my question was. It's like...
No!
Is it just...
No, he's not. So then we bring... apparently it's officially called the Mean Gene location. So they brought out they did an interview in behind the crowd. So kind of over where the old... back when Raw was on the stage.
Yeah.
So we bring the Mean Gene position. That's what they call it now. And so it's kind of like at the back center of the crowd, but not on the stage. We're going to interview with the ring in the background.
Yeah.
And we bring up MVP. And out come the Dirty Dog. Oh, the Dirty Dogs come out.
Right.
As MVP and Omos are walking up the ramp. And how dare you take away my spotlight. And then the Dirty Dogs kick MVP in the face. So they're done being on NXT. They're back. Your former NXT champion Dolph Ziggler is back.
Yeah.
And he
Super kicked
MVP.
Yeah.
So now we get to watch the Dirty Dogs wrestle Omos.
Oh boy.
Nobody should wrestle Omos. Then we have Ezekiel versus Otis, because this is going to go on forever. So, and then we get... So KO wants a rematch. I don't understand why KO wants a rematch. He won the match.
Yeah.
Why does he want a rematch? Why does he need a rematch? Why? I had to go back and look at him. I'm like, no, he won the match. Why does he want a rematch? And then so he's like, he said, I'll tell you what. I guess Ezekiel wanted the match. No, Ezekiel wanted the rematch. Sorry.
Oh.
Duh.
Yeah.
And so he was like, all right, if you want this rematch, then you have to admit that you're not Elias, that you're actually Elias. He's like, okay, I admit it. I'm Elias. I got you. You said you're Elias. He goes, Kevin, I just lied. I'm Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. This needs to stop.
Yes.
I'm waiting for Ezekiel and Elias to come out at the same time where they have a superimposed digital, or they're just gonna get Kurt Hawkins. Yeah, because he's I've seen him in the background trying to pull apart wrestlers. He'll just put a wig on because he used to impersonate everybody anyway.
Yeah.
Then we get a recap of the Women's Hell in the Cell match again. Yeah. Then we get to watch Edge get beat down from 40 minutes ago. Like half the recaps on Raw were things that happened that night.
Yeah.
Why?
It's like instant replay. It's like we don't need a booth review. We already saw it. So.
And then we had Alexa versus Dewdrop versus Asuka versus Rhea.
Yeah.
This was a decent match.
Yeah.
It was a 15-minute match. It was pretty good. Rhea won. It was, Alexa was just there because she's there. Dewdrop, like, if I were to go, all right, who? Honestly, it's in order of how well they performed. Alexa was the worst. Dewdrop was next. Then Asuka. Then Rhea was the best. I mean, it really. Asuka, I think Alexa's just finishing up her paychecks at this point because she's really not contributing a whole lot to anything in this company right now.
Right.
Except for selling dolls.
Right. Lily.
Should get a Lily doll for the set. Hey, so far that's our first hour of the show. We got another hour, probably another 45 minutes to an hour to go. Thank you guys for those of you that are still watching. Hey, by all means, please like, share, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube when I upload the show there. Yeah. Tell your friends. If you're watching the show, I love it if you just say hi, so I know that people are watching. And I know that every time I say that, the little eyeballs go to 0 because they get scared. They can see me. The show could be more entertaining if you guys threw your opinions in there and I could share them and we could discuss them. But moving on from Raw to, honestly, which was a better show this week, believe it or not, was SmackDown. So once again, we're going to run down everything that's going to happen on the show. Great. Drew versus Sheamus. Again. 12-minute match. This is the Hell in the Cell Money in the Bank qualifier match, I believe.
Yeah.
Not that anybody cared. Once again, Butch was like a little choppy dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew won, of course. And I'm tired of these two wrestling. I've seen it way too many times. We did another promo for John Cena, who's been in the wrestling business for 20 years, in case you didn't know from Raw. And we're going to do, and he's going to be back. He's going to be back to wrestling on the 27th in Laredo, Texas. John Cena will be back. And we will have the ratings galore. Hey, in case you didn't see it on Raw, here's what happened between Seth and Cody.
I know. It's like, yeah.
This is like the only recap they did on the show, too, was Seth and Cody's recap.
Yeah. Oh, Lacey.
Then we went backstage with Lacey. So Lacey, the evolution or de-evolution of Lacey. Hey, welcome to Powerbomb Weekly. If you're just not in watch, we're glad you're here. Lacey Evans has been an interesting topic. So she came out with for 6 weeks straight about how she was a horrible life. And nobody would see.
Yeah.
See, I mentioned it and it went away.
Oh.
The eyeball goes away. She had a horrible upbringing and it's horrible and it's, yeah, I get it. And then she went to Raw and she did another promo. Oh no, she did a live promo on SmackDown and then they said she's going to Raw and then they played the Raw intro, showed on Raw. And then she did a live, and then she was like, she's going to be on Raw next week. And last week, she was not on Raw because they changed it again. They don't know if they want her to be heel or face. The promos made no sense. And as Mike has said many times, how are you going to boo a person who is a domestic violence survivor? And how are you going to cheer yeah, you survived, if they're doing heel stuff? So what are they going to do? So they said, okay, well, we're going to put her back on SmackDown as the inspirational Lacey Evans. And Lacey Evans, her new tagline is, I may not be as good as the rest of these wrestlers, but none of these wrestlers are as good as me. In order to beat the champ, you have to first beat the champ.
This is it's like they're coming up with these double meaning slogans that, when you think about it, make
I may not be as good as some of these wrestlers, but none of these wrestlers damn as good as me. So she wrestled Xia Li, because Xia Li is no longer the protector. Now she is the destroyer. And Lacey wins with out of nowhere. Literally out of nowhere. Like, it's like, oh, this is a good wrestling match. Okay, they're doing some little bit of ring rust. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Pow!
Nope.
Oh.
No. That's...
And she's out.
Yep. End of story.
Like, why didn't you start with that? Just walk up. Be like remember the Big Show used to come out like,
oh yeah,
bump!
The big fist or whatever he called it.
Yeah, he just win his matches because he just punched people in the face. Lacey Evans should just do that because the women's right. And we didn't really get to see if she was going to celebrate or not because we left the ring. We go backstage where Drew is mad. Drew is mad because their match ended in a double disqualification because shenanigans. So, so I want a rematch. I should be in the Money in the Bank. I should be in the Money in the Bank. Actually, they never said anything about a rematch. I deserve to be there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course Adam's like, it's just complicated. It's a lot going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we did a promo with the Viking Raiders because maybe you forgot who they were.
Oh, they're back.
But they're back to SmackDown next week.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Fair enough.
Because you need some tag teams.
Oh yeah.
And then we go backstage, and Sheamus is mad. I deserve to win that match. I don't want to. And Drew's like, And Adam Pearce is like, it's complicated.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Ronda Rousey gets a mic for
Oh.
some freaking reason.
Where's- to make Kevin happy. But
To
anyway.
make... and I just...
This match didn't make any sense to me, to be honest.
Well,
Yeah.
well, it's before we even get to the match. Ronda can't talk.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey cannot do a promo to save her life. Like, you better stop scripting her.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure if she was talking from her heart, maybe she would do good. But she can't do a promo to save her life. She can't empathize. She can't act. She cannot act at all. So you get this promo that doesn't make no sense. And then she's got the raccoon eyes and she doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she wrestles Shotzi. Shotzi can wrestle. We've seen her do it. She's proven herself in NXT as a decent wrestler. And this match looked like ass. Because Ronda looks like ass.
Mm-hmm.
Ronda Rousey cannot wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Stop making her the champion. You know, I would bitch about Brock Lesnar being the champion because he's a part-timer.
Mm-hmm.
But he could wrestle.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey is not being a part-timer. She's showing up. She's showing out. She's there. But if you're going to be... She's almost... I don't want to say it. But there's a particular wrestler that used to wrestle for NXT whose name was Dakota Kai. And I think Dakota Kai can wrestle better than than freaking Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But I could be wrong. If you think I'm wrong, tell me in the comments.
Mm.
Second hour. Oh, and again, this match, Ronda Shotzi match, it bled over to the second hour.
Yeah.
Just so if you're looking at the hours going, oh wow, there was a lot. No, there wasn't.
No.
So we go backstage and do an interview with Riddle because Riddle does double duty.
Mm-hmm.
Then we talk about Ricochet versus Gunter
Sure.
for the IC title.
Well,
I like Ricochet. I do. I really like him as a wrestler. And I knew there was no way Ricochet was going to beat Gunter. And I was right.
yeah.
Gunter is your new Intercontinental Champion. After 8 minutes. Ricochet tried.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can say.
Yeah.
So all night they were talking about how if Sami Zayn can beat Riddle, then Sami Zayn will be... Or if Sami Zayn... So Riddle versus Sami Zayn. If Riddle wins, Riddle gets a match against the Tribal Chief next week on SmackDown because he ain't got time to do pay-per-views right now. He's too busy being the champion.
Yeah.
And now you want to know why people aren't buying your pay-per-views.
Yeah.
You had to take your pay-per-view that was at Allegiant Stadium and bring it down to MGM Grand because not enough people were buying your tickets because you're taking your champion out of the matches. Yeah, anyway. So if Riddle wins, he gets a championship match against the Tribal Chief that, let's face it, there's no chance he can win.
Right.
Even though I think he could, but he's not going to win. And then if Sami Zayn wins the match, then Riddle can never come back on SmackDown again. And basically he becomes part of the Bros. The Bloodline.
Right.
So Sami Zayn talks with Paul Heyman. Can we make this happen? Paul Heyman said, we'll see what we can do. And then, so it was good. It was good. Feel good. Yeah, okay. And then the story broke earlier this week that John Cena, who is, in my mind, probably one of the best human beings in the world, him and Titus O'Neil, they truly represent themselves. They truly represent their company, and they truly represent their compassion. He flew to Amsterdam to visit with a young boy a young family a family and a young boy who escaped Ukraine. And again, we don't get political in the show. We keep our political thoughts out of this, but you know what's going on over there. Everyone's got their own opinions, and you cannot say it's not a travesty what's going on there. Whether or not governments deserve or don't deserve, the people that are being affected are still innocent. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So these people fled Ukraine, and the only thing that was keeping this kid going is the mom kept saying, if we get to America, if we can get out of here, you can go meet John Cena. I'll get you to John Cena. I will make it so that you can meet John Cena. Mm-hmm. I don't know how she promised this. I don't know how she promised this. But they got out. They got free, and they got to have their meeting with John Cena. Now, I watched this interview. I had to watch this twice because the first time I watched it, I was like, I'm a skeptic sometimes, and I'm sorry, but I'm a skeptical person sometimes. I watched this, I was like, this kid doesn't even want to be here. Mm-hmm. This kid...
No, I got that vibe, too.
This kid does not care. You are pushing him out. You're pushing this agenda type of project. Then, and I was like, man, I can't be skeptical, but I can't... I don't want to be like that. So I watched it again, and I've come up with... It's one of two things. One, I was right. This kid truly didn't want to be there. He was a pawn in an agenda. And if that's the case, man, shame on you for bringing kids into agendas.
Yeah.
But I also thought this kid is also a refugee from a war-torn country.
Right.
And he's probably scared. And he's probably not comfortable with being the center of attention. And he's not comfortable with the things that are going around him.
Yeah.
And he's afraid of what tomorrow brings, like, every day. So, or maybe, and I've seen and not worked with, but I have enough friends and family that there's a chance this kid might have been a little on the spectrum-ish.
Yeah.
He had some of those qualities. So, it's one of those three things. And I hope it's not the first. I hope this kid was not a political pawn. And I hope John Cena didn't buy into the political pawnness. And it feels like John Cena's a little smarter than that. Even though we can go back to the whole China thing. So, but this took up a good amount of time, as it should have. Mm-hmm. It was a good story. It definitely markets everybody that's involved. What were your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, I was a little reserved too, because I got that. That's funny you brought that up. I got the same vibe. It's like, does this kid really want to be here? It's like, I was a little confused. It's like, but thinking about it, you brought up some good points. It's like, maybe it isn't like you could obviously see the cameraman around you.
Right.
And like, probably like all the staff, and it's like, this big deal. Maybe you didn't like that. But John Cena is who he says he is, and he's a good humanitarian, and he's I think Mike put it up in his blog. I just don't know how he keeps it straight. It's like, I mean, how do you? The one that always got me was it was the kid, the cancer kid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, he gave him strength and stuff. That one always gets me. And John has never backed down. So, I don't think it, in my opinion, I don't think it was a political, hopefully it wasn't. But yeah, kudos to John for that. I mean,
so I just did a quick Google search. John Cena has, and when we talk about John Cena in 2 weeks, John Cena has granted over 650 Make-A-Wish requests.
Seriously? Wow.
He
Wow.
he is granted the most. I'm gonna look at what number 2 is here in a second, but 650. Now, and I'll share that. I'll share this story for another time. But So yeah, he does a lot, and he does it seemingly with a smile. So then I don't know if we just needed time, but then we get a SmackDown classic moment. Like, I want to know who was bumped from the show. I want to know, did we just not figure out how we were going to do the whole Sasha Banks thing? Was this supposed to be Sasha and Naomi?
Yeah.
But we get a classic moment from SmackDown history, and we got to watch Austin and Booker T in a supermarket.
Yeah.
Why?
Hey, I like that match. That was a funny match. I remember that one.
Need a price check.
That is good as the him attacking Vince in the hospital in the bedpan, but that's always been my favorite. But yes.
Why?
Maybe some...
So then we go to then we have our main event. No, I'm sorry.
No, we got to
recap Moss and Corbin because they're going to be on show next week. And then where's our male model? Oh, he got delayed in customs. So our male model will be here next week. I'm still telling you it's going to be Cameron Grimes. It's Cameron Grimes. Because Cameron Grimes was not on NXT.
There you go.
That's what I think. All right. And then we get our main event, Riddle versus Sami Zayn. And they had a hell of a main event. Riddle, when he's serious, can wrestle. And I say this every time. I forget Sami Zayn can wrestle.
Yeah. Zayn can wrestle.
When he's always gotten that whole shticky thing where he's running and hiding. The man can wrestle.
Yeah.
He can wrestle well. And especially with a good dance partner like Riddle. Mm-hmm. And they had a great match. Yeah. And Riddle won. Mm-hmm. Which means Riddle will fight the Tribal Chief next week. However, Mr. Paul Heyman was on commentary. And they kept asking Paul Heyman, does the Tribal Chief agree to this? He's like, I don't even know anything about this. I'm not going to discuss. So I have a feeling that the Tribal Chief is going to worm his way out of this match because he did not agree to it. You do not tell the Tribal Chief what to do. Yeah. We will see what happens. So so that was the week in WWE. So before we move on to AEW and Rampage, Ron, you've been watching wrestling for many years. Yeah. You watched wrestling. There was a time in your life when you watched a lot of wrestling, a lot more than you do now.
Right.
Do you remember the Vince Russo era of TNA?
Yes.
Do you remember the Vince Russo era of WCW?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so this week on AEW, we got two things that popped up. And man, I really hate to say they sound Vince Russo-ish. So the first thing is, the show started with a Casino Royale Battle Royal. Now, if you thought that the man on the mountain, top of the mountain ladder match was ridiculous, this one's even worse. So here you start the match with 5 men. Every 3 minutes, a new wave of men will enter. Then finally, a 21st person. And then the Boyle Royale entry number picked in, and then it's over the top Battle Royal. However, if you are Darby Allin or at one point in time I think it was Swerve.
Yeah.
If you throw yourself over the top rope to do a suicida, apparently that doesn't eliminate you.
Okay.
Because there were people jumping out of the ring into the people on the ground. The whole beginning of this match, I was like, apparently it's not an over-the-top ring, but it was.
Okay.
And so this match was kind of ridiculous. So the first group that came in was Daniel Garcia, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin, Tony Nese, Lance Archer.
Okay.
And then the second group came in, and then the third group was getting ready to come in. But they noticed that there was a big spot about to happen. Like, you could see the countdown.
Yeah.
You could see the Join the Dark Order on the Tron.
Yeah.
And then it went away, and nobody came out. And my wife, who does not watch wrestling, goes, "Why was there a countdown? There's nobody coming down." I'm like, because you see how these people are doing the thing in the ring right now?
Yeah.
They're not done yet. And then the countdown started again after the thing. I was like, a little bit of timing.
Yeah, someone missed the cue.
And then your Joker was Andrade El Hijo, who just got back from his honeymoon to Charlotte Flair. Oh, hi, Mike.
Is Mike there?
Mike joined the show via the chat. We'll see if he has anything to say.
Do I need to start swearing to?
No.
Okay.
We've only had two swear words.
Two swear words. Okay.
Two swear words, and they were both by me.
Yeah.
So that is something that happened,
Mm-hmm.
and then
So yeah,
it feels a little Vince Russo-ish. I know, but then this, and we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the show here in a second. So they introduced So there were people on this that was like, well, if this is for the championship, there's some people definitely missing. Like, where are, like, some of these top tier people? Well, those top tier people are either A, injured, or B, they were entered into this. The new Mid-Atlantic Championship match. Now, you can see the beautiful belt right there in the corner. It's got the flags on it. Very nice. I'm sorry, not in the Mid-Atlantic, but All Atlantic Championship.
Okay.
Now, I'd like to point out the flags that are in the background that appear on the belt. Now, he's got a migraine that's worse than a Dakota Kai match. As Ron and I discussed, it's actually a migraine that's worse than a Ronda Rousey match because Dakota Kai is a better wrestler. Yeah. We've determined that. So I was in the Navy. I was a sailor for 21 and a half years. I did submarines. I was stationed on the East Coast and the West Coast. You have a family who's from where?
The Philippines.
Okay, the Philippines.
Yeah.
And where's the Philippines?
In the Pacific.
Pacific Ocean. Okay, just want to make sure that we understand that. Yeah. So, Mexico does touch the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Depends on which. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to skip that second flag. The UK flag does touch the Atlantic flag.
Right.
America and Canada do touch the American flag. But where does China and Japan touch? I'm pretty sure those are in the Pacific. Not only that, but they don't have any Chinese wrestlers. So, I do think it's cool that we have a wrestler from each country, a different country. So you have Buddy Matthews versus Pac. Buddy Matthews is from
Australia.
Pac is from the UK. How do the flags touch them? I'm not sure. Then you have Ethan Page from Canada versus Miro from the Ukraine. Now, Ukraine is not Ukraine, sorry. No, it is Ukraine, right? No, it's
Where? Oh, Tech.
Where's Miro from? It's Ukraine.
No, that's Belarus, isn't it?
From not Belarus. Yeah, he's from Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
The Bulgarian Brew. Yeah. So Bulgaria is considered Eastern Europe, or Western Europe, European. It's still part of the European bloc.
Right.
So European bloc is still East Atlantic. Penta from Japan, sure. Malachi Black is from Holland, sure. And then again, New Japan has nothing to do with the Atlantic.
Right.
Now, when I see the All Atlantic Championship, I'm like, oh, is this the new European belt? Also, why do you need another belt? When they said we're going to introduce a new belt, everyone's like, Trios! No.
Mm-hmm.
So now on this champ, we have the So for the men, we have the AEW World Championship. You have the TNT title.
All right.
You have the Tag Team Champions. You have the Bret Hart or Owen Hart belt. Now you have the Forbidden Door, or the All Atlantic Championship.
Right.
And somewhere along the line, you're going to trio. So 6 belts. You don't need... I mean, granted, you have 100 people. Mm. Oh, plus you have all of the Ring of Honor belts that you're defending on your show.
Yeah.
This sounds like some, definitely bro shit to me.
Yeah.
Oh, another curse word. All right, so here's what actually happened on Dynamite. So we had that Casino Battle Royale. The Battle Royale lasted 24 and a half minutes. Thank God it actually yes, it isn't actually a world championship. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So at least they had the Casino Battle Royale. So it does, it wasn't a 5-minute Battle Royale that they like to show on TV. And it came down to, so when it really came down to was, who were the last two? It was Kyle O'Reilly and it was El Hidolo. Andre. And I was like, okay, so which would be a better match? So, and it also had Yuta. Yuta was in there too.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I was like, well, what would be a better match? Would Yuta versus Moxley be a better match because their styles are both, blah, but they're being in the same faction, or would Kyle O'Reilly versus the match at the end of the night. If Kyle O'Reilly won, would that be a better match against John? So who was the better match against John Moxley?
Yeah.
Kyle O'Reilly or Yuta? And ultimately, Dad and I were like, it was probably going to be Kyle O'Reilly, and that's who actually won. Yeah. And we'll get to that in a minute. So after the Battle Royal, after 25 minutes, couple of commercials, and the Battle Royal wasn't the worst Battle Royal in the world. It wasn't the worst presentation of a Battle Royal. The cameras often were not where they should have been, which is unfortunate.
Right.
But, Battle Royal is a Battle Royal. We go backstage. Moxley's like, I don't care who won that match. The Forbidden Door is mine. I got this opportunity. I've been kicking down Japanese doors. This is mine. Cool. Then we get told there's a new belt. And again, we all thought it was a trios belt. And it was this Mid-Atlantic. And my gosh, what the hell? So we have this Atlantic belt. And the first match was Buddy Matthews versus Pac. And this match was amazing.
It was a good match.
This match was freaking cool as hell. Now, Dave Meltzer actually rated this as a 3.5-star match, and I 100% agree. This match was a 3.5-star match. It was balls to the wall. I wished Buddy Matthews would have won, but Pac did. That's fine. Pac, the bastard, will then turn around and wrestle either Miro or Ethan Page. I'm going to guess it's going to be Pac versus Miro. And I'm going to guess it's Black versus somebody from New Japan. Those are my picks. But it was a balls to the wall match. Yeah. It was great. Then we get backstage. Kingston wants Jake Hager because Jake Hager cost him the Battle Royal. Sure. That's the one good thing that a Battle Royal does is it at least starts setting up new storylines because something happens in the match that starts a new storyline or continues one on. I'm all for that. So then apparently on Wednesday, if you didn't know, it was Best Friends Day, National Best Friends Day. Oh. And none of Trent's best friends were there. And Trent's like, the best friends want a match with FTR because we were winning that match. There's a good chance we would have won it. We want a great competition. But the match was spoiled for us and then we want him back. And then FTR's like, well, we're not saying you wouldn't have won, but don't be mad at us. Be mad at Ospreay's bitch boys for interrupting the match. And cue Will Ospreay and his bitch boys show up. They're called they're called I have it on the next slide. The United Alleged their name's stupid. Okay. Sorry. But Will Ospreay and he got some good numbers for showing up on the show apparently. So cuz he did wrestle on Friday night. On Friday Night Rampage.
Okay.
So then we had a backstage segment with William Regal and the Undisputed Elite that felt very NXT back in the day-ish. And basically they're like, Kyle O'Reilly, he's like, I'm going to hurt your boy Moxley. And Regal's like, I don't think so. Because, no.
No.
So, you got your first hour of Dynamite. You've got 35 minutes of wrestling.
Yeah.
Plus the trend. So, I mean, there was a good 40 minutes of, if you were in the crowd, you got 40 minutes of stuff in the ring.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of beating that drum, and I will beat that drum. I'm not getting tired of beating that drum. I will beat that drum all day.
No.
If you're going to go to a show, go to an AEW show, because you're actually going to see stuff in the ring. Mm-hmm. Now, moving on to the second hour of Dynamite. We get a recap of Lethal beating up Joe after Double or Nothing, because we need to move this on.
Yeah.
That's fine.
10-person tag. Hey.
That didn't happen.
I was like, no.
Why? It happened again. This is not what happened. Once again, Dynamite. This is the wrong slide. I hate when it happens like that.
Oh.
There we go.
That's better.
So this is what actually happened. So we had Adam Page versus David Finley. So here we go. What's Adam Page going to do now that he's no longer the champion?
Right.
So Adam Page defeat David Finley. Looked great, by the way. I've watched him in New Japan. He's a good wrestler. He looked a little different, got a little different haircut, but he's a third generation wrestler. Fit Finley was a bruiser back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So they had a good 10-minute match. Dave again gave this one 3.5 stars. I can't fault that. It was a good start. It was a great match. And so Paige, what are you going to do now that you are no longer champion? Easy. I want the IWGP Championship. I want Okada.
Okay.
And wow, okay, you got your aspirations high. Yeah. And it makes sense because everybody wanted to see Okada versus Page champion to champion. Mm-hmm. So this is a good way to make that happen. Mm-hmm. Well, Adam Cole was on commentary. Adam Cole was like, "You don't deserve it. I deserve it more than you do." Meanwhile, Cole, you're injured. That's why you're not wrestling.
Right.
So it sounds like the rumors have it's going to be a 3-way match. That way to protect Okada and Page and all of them. I think. But okay, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Mm-hmm. And Cole also says, by the way, you can't even ask Okada to do the match because Jay White might be the champion by the time. If you forgot about that, Jay White's wrestling Okada at Dominion, which I believe happened last night or happens next week. I can't remember, but Dominion's happening. So there we go. Then we have a earlier today for Thunder Rosa, which I'm gonna guess continued to annoy Thunder Rosa because Thunder Rosa has been felt like she's being underutilized, which I can understand. Yeah. Actually, Dominion was in fact today, and holy crap!
Spoiler
alert! Jay White beat Okada for the IWGP Championship. Jay White is your new champion. Beat Okada in 36 minutes.
Ooh.
So, is Paige going to wrestle Jay White now? Well,
now that got interesting.
That did get interesting. So, yeah, okay. There's that. I hope we get Dominion here to watch because... Oh, yes. I thought Okada already had the kid, but yes. Okada is about to have a kid. He's going away. He did, in fact. He is going away because he got beat. So back to earlier today, Thunder Rosa got challenged to a match by Marina Sharif, who is Roddy Strong's wife. Then we get back to Wardlow having a mic saying that he wants the TNT Championship. He wants Scorpio Sky. He'll worry about the big belt later, but this is the belt he wants now. Sterling interrupts and says, you forgot about your lawsuit. Once again, At no point in time have we ever mentioned MJF, nor will we mention MJF. Apparently, he's no longer in the intros. Yeah. He's been scrubbed from the shows. So we're selling the work. Shoot.
Yeah.
Sterling tells him that he's got a match next week against all 30... all 30 of the guys that he's beat up. So security. He's got a match against all 30 security matches. So it's a 1-on-30, 30-on-1 match. So my question is, if Wardlow's fighting all of the security guys in this match, who's gonna do security for the show?
Right.
All the black shirts.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Then we go backstage to the Young Bucks doing their stupid Young Bucks stuff. The Hardys interrupt, going, "Hey, I saw your door was open."
Yeah.
And then we want another match. And the Young Bucks are like, the Hardys like, we heard you say you want a match, but that you were the superior tag team, and you want tag team gold, but didn't we just beat you? So you don't deserve a match. We deserve a match. Yeah. And the whole time I'm thinking, no, go home, Jeff.
Yes.
Go home, Jeff. You're hurt. Yeah. And then here comes Christian. I'm calling it now the Christian Express instead of the Jurassic Express, because Christian has now taken over the group. And he was like, "Hey, we want a match for the championship. Neither one of you deserve us. We're the champions, and we'll make the rules." So then Christian goes, "Well, I got an idea. Let's settle this the old-fashioned way." Jeff, wink, wink. Matt, wink, wink. Hey, remember how you Young Bucks were sitting on the couch watching us do matches with a certain grouping of equipment?
Yeah.
How about we all do that like we made it famous back in the other place? So they're having a ladder match. I thought it was going to be TLC. I really thought they were going to somehow say TLC. Chairs, tables, and ladder. A CTL.
CTL.
A chairs, table, and ladders match.
Yeah.
So next week we get to watch Jeff Hardy kill himself just a little bit more.
Jeez.
And meanwhile, the Dinosaur and Jungle Boy are like, "What are you doing, Christian? Why are you doing this to us?"
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, we get the Thunder Rosa versus Marina Sharif match that nobody asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Marina, I am convinced that there is not a single woman. I want to back up. I am convinced that there's not a single ex-MMA woman who can wrestle, with the exception of Shayna Baszler. Not a single one of them have done it. Paige Van Zandt hasn't done well. Marina Sharif has not done well. Ronda Rousey sucks. Ivy Nile, not great. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Marina Sharif is a horrible wrestler. And Thunder Rosa tried her best. Thunder was like, pick her back up and tried her best. It was hard to watch. So, yeah, Thunder Rosa, you deserve better. You're the champion. Dave did not even bother,
rating
this. And then we had Moxley. So then we have the baddies being baddies, and I'm getting tired of the baddies being baddies. And then we have Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly for 14-14. Dave gave this 4.5 stars. I definitely say it's a 4-star match. I don't know if it deserves that other half, but because it wasn't a Moxley bloodbath, which I appreciated. It felt very Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Stand and Deliver 36, the last good NXT pay-per-view. Yeah. It felt good. It looked good, but and Moxley ended up winning, kind of out of nowhere, honestly. 14 minutes into the match, going back and forth, Moxley just ends it.
Yeah.
With his finisher. I was like, okay, I guess that's what happened. So
it's not the deeds anymore.
Yeah, it's called something else.
What? It's the same move still.
It's Dirty Deeds. Just they don't call it Dirty Deeds anymore. My memory sucks, and unless it's written down in front of me, I'm not gonna have it. So, but it was a good match, and it definitely proved like you got 14, 25, 38.
Yeah.
You got another 35, 40 minutes worth of things happening in front of you at the arena. So, yeah, great show. Definitely gave you everything you were looking for, everything you were hoping for. So,
yeah, that's good.
So then we move on to
Rampage.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, Rampage?
I do have Rampage. Rampage is right here.
Yeah.
So, of course, Rampage is generally recorded right after, so... I wonder if Mike's still watching with us. Just curious. So we get that Eddie Kingston Jack Hager fight that we were promised.
Yeah.
Okay. It was everything that Jake Hager and Eddie Kingston can do. It was what they do. They brawl, they fight, they crack, they scratch, yeah. It went 11 minutes. I maybe went a little longer than it should have, in my opinion, a little bit. But it got the story across. Eddie Kingston is believable. The thing is, Eddie Kingston is absolutely believable when it comes to him being the character he is.
Yeah.
We go backstage to Britt Baker being Britt Baker, saying that she's Britt Baker and nobody else is Britt Baker.
Yeah.
Because she's Britt Baker. Next week, Road Rager, I think is what the Dynamite show is called. There's a lot of really good matches on it. And one of them is the Ortiz versus Chris Jericho hair for hair match. I think Ortiz is getting his hair cut. I don't think it's going to be Jericho. I could be wrong. Maybe Jericho's don't care anymore. Who knows? Anyway, Ortiz versus Jay. He said his hair is going to be his. He's going to take Jericho's hair, and it'll be a thing.
Okay.
We finally get to see Jay Lethal's great Khali wrestle. Because that's all he is. Satyam Singh, who used to be a basketball player. Yeah. And they beat up some jobbers. Their names were Davey Vega and Matt Fitchlet.
Okay.
They lost. Because yeah. We got to watch earlier today, and the Hookhausen got to hang out and riding their motors, their scooters and whatnot. I'm not gonna lie, I was half paying attention at this point because I had a lot going on, but yay Hookhausen. Yeah. Chris Statlander versus Red Velvet. So here's the thing, guys. We get that Chris Statlander used to be an alien. We get that she used to boop her wrestlers. We get it. She's moved on from that. The one thing WWE does right is when they move on a character, they just move on and they don't keep going. Remember when she used to move on? We know she's no longer an alien.
Right.
You don't have to explain it. She was trying something out. It didn't work for 2 years. She never really thought she was an alien. Now she's a badass.
Yeah.
And she kicked Red Velvet's ass. As she should have.
Yep.
So apparently we're going to get Miro versus Paige for the TNT coming up in the coming up. Oh yeah. No, wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Yeah, Ethan Page. Ethan Page, wrong page. Too many damn pages.
Yeah.
Ethan Page don't have a chance. Ethan Page don't even stand a chance in this. Miro's going to destroy him. I really like the Redeemer. My dad doesn't. Mike doesn't really care for it. I love the whole God's favorite son, the chosen Redeemer. As long as they stick to that, don't bring your wife into it. Ever. Now we get the match that was promised last week. You get Will Ospreay versus the Aussie Open, that's their name, versus FTR and Trent. Man, this match was great. Will Ospreay is a great wrestler. He's so much fun to watch. Some of the matches. So back in New Japan, if you want to watch some really hard-hitting good New Japan, I've kind of tuned you into some New Japan a couple weeks ago. If you go back and you watch, yes, Mike, you think Miro's trash. You're trash. Ronda Rousey's trash. Will Ospreay versus Kushida versus the villain. And we don't say his name anymore. He got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But those were some damn good matches back in the day.
The villain?
Yeah.
I think I know you.
Marty Scurll.
Scurll,
Yeah. Marty Scurll. Again, Marty Scurll did some horrible things. Allegedly, that's neither here nor there. But when Scurll, Ospreay, and Kushida wrestled each other in New Japan and they had their three-way matches, they were some of the best matches. They were like, oh, so good. So Ospreay, a lot of people don't like him. Ospreay he's got that I'm British, better than you shtick, and it works well for him. But yeah, this match was great. You have three amazing wrestlers in there, Ospreay and FTR, and then you have Aussie Open and Trent. Trent's not a bad wrestler. These Aussie Open kids, whose names are Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. I'm not familiar with them. I don't watch Rev Pro. We don't watch a lot of the UK wrestling here because we don't get it. But it was good. So Rampage was again a great show. They pack so much in that 1 hour that they got. Yeah. And I wish Raw would do that. I wish we'd have a 2 hour Raw and then a third hour later on another night. And I wish Raw needs to stop being 3 hours. It has for years. So that was this week's. I don't have much in the ways of the rumors that I was going to discuss because
Paige retired.
Yes, so I found that out after I'd already got done with the show. The fact that Paige is retired or Paige has been let go from the company. So Mike, if you're listening, here's some things I want to talk. So in 2 weeks, our next show will be in 2 weeks. We're not doing a show next week because it's Father's Day weekend, and I'm going to be up in Puyallup. I can't say it. Puyallup at the Washington Con, where I'm hoping I'm going to see Trish Stratus and Sergeant Slaughter. They're going to be there, but I'm going to be working at the con there. Plus, it's Father's Day weekend, and I'm going to spend some time with my kids for Father's Day. So we're not going to do a show next week. However, 2 weeks from now, we're going to do a little bit on John Cena, since he is he's 20 years in the business. If it hasn't already happened, we're going to predict which wrestlers are going to get fired, since it's been 6 months and the new the next firings are up. So those are two of the things that I really want to talk about in 2 weeks, Mike, so you know. But yes, Paige was let go. Apparently it was not her choice. So she said that she wanted to stay, but they held on to her for as long as they could, even with a broken neck. She thought she could have been a manager. She thought she could have done dude stuff, but they want to focus on wrestlers. So we know that NXT is going to get trimmed to make way for The Rock's daughter, whose name's been changed, and there's people's opinions on that. I don't give two squats. So also the other thing that came out just recently is Naomi made a statement
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that if Mike hasn't done it, we'll share it to the page. We can get some opinions on it. And if it's still in 2 weeks a topic worth discussing, we'll discuss that. So, Mike, that's the two things we're going to talk about in next week's show, along with everything else in 2 weeks. Other than that, I don't really, those should have been, I should have had this screen up when we were talking about all that just now.
Oh.
So final thoughts. Thank you, Ron,
You're welcome.
for helping with the show. I spent way too much time for it to just not go anywhere.
It was good content. I enjoyed it.
You know, I would love, I've got some ideas, Mike, on how we might make the show a little more popular, and it involves something that you absolutely loathe. So I won't actually have you make any of the, I won't have you contribute to any of the content, but
Mike
I think
likes nudity. What are you talking about?
no, I'm thinking that I'm thinking a way that we might be able to make this show grow is some content on a particular app that Mike hates.
Oh.
I just have to learn how to use the content, but I think maybe if we could do some 30-second to 1 minute quick videos about specific things as they happen day to day, maybe more people would watch this show. Because we'd get some more wrestling fans because there is a thing called Wrestling Talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, having said all of that, again,
yeah,
I thank you so much for being part of our show.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and thank you for...
I'm sorry that we didn't have a intro from Kevin. Kevin sends his apologies. He did not quite have the time to get it done, apparently, even though I gave him plenty of time to do it. You know, whatever.
Okay.
I'm not going to poke the bear. But for Powerbomb Weekly, I am Joey. This is Ron standing in for Mike. We are not doing a show.
Did we just discuss that?
We are not doing a show next week, Mike. We covered this. No. Father's Day weekend, not doing a show. I know that there's a delay. There's a delay.
There's a delay, okay.
So either he wasn't paying attention or...
Don't.
Listen here. I gave Kevin everything he needed to do for the intro on Friday. Kevin didn't do the intro on Friday. I reminded him again on Saturday. He didn't do the intro on Saturday. I reminded him this morning. He texted me at... at 4:48.
Oh, you can't see that. Oh, kind of. There you go.
4:48. Crap, is it too late? 12 minutes before we go on the air. Is it too late to do the intro? Yeah. Yeah, it's too late. Don't blame Kevin for my failure. Thank you for being a great co-host.
I am. I try.
Maybe they could make you on as a more... No, we're not going to talk about that. We're signing off.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a great co-host. You know, maybe we can bring you on a more permanent basis. Because, you know. So, again,
Good Lord.
I'm Joey.
I'm Ron.
And this has been Powerbomb.